That one has. It's okay though, because the wind you shouldn't know much. Drive.
They will have to study hard in order to pass the exams, because as a student, well, you choose what you want to study, and after you've decided, then you take the exams, 3 exams depending on what you have chosen, and then the best students are the ones who are going to be sent to the universities. I mean, you decide which university in the country you want to study, and if you pass the exams and you are among the best students of the province, then you will study at the university. Sometimes it takes 4, 5, or 6 years, depends on what you're going to study. And when you graduate from the Cuban university, your first job is what we call in Spanish as servicio social. It's social service, which is also mandatory for all students who graduate from the university. You know that as soon as you finish your last year, your first job will be part of this social service time. It's mandatory for all students. It's a way of paying back for your studies, and it takes from 1 to 3 years. 1 to 3 years you'll be working where they send you, and they will always send you to those areas of the country or to those jobs where they need you the most. So you'll be putting into practice everything you've learned during the time you were studying, and then you stay there, as I said, from 1 to 3 years. As soon as your social service time is over, then students are free, I mean as workers, to get a different job, to apply for a different job somewhere else. And it will be, like I said, what a lot of them will do, because in the case of the social service, sometimes if you study medicine, for example, they will send you to the countryside, you know, to the rural areas, or if you live close to a mountain range, they will probably send you up there where the small communities are, and they need more doctors there than in the cities or in the towns. But like I said, this will be just for the social service time. When this time finishes, then you're free to then get a different job somewhere else closer to where you live. This is Matanzas City. Matanzas also has its old area, like its downtown. It's been under renovation now for a couple of years, which is actually what Matanzas needed, because Matanzas, it's also a beautiful place. It's downtown, it's old area, it's very nice, where we find beautiful buildings from the 19th century, and it's been abandoned. I mean, unfortunately, it was what happened to this beautiful city. Now they are taking care of Matanzas. We're living in our island before Christopher Columbus discovered Cuba in 1492. So that was the official date when Cuba was discovered by Christopher Columbus, 1492. Later in the 1500s, early 1500s, one Spanish conqueror was sent by the Spanish crown. His name was Diego Velázquez. Diego Velázquez came, and he first went to the eastern part of the country. He moved from east to west, and he founded the 7 first Spanish villages. The first of these villages was Baracoa, the very east side of the country. Second one was Santiago de Cuba, very important Cuban city, which was the first capital city of the island. It was the first of all capital cities for about 40 years. And the last of these villages founded by Diego Velázquez was San Cristobal de la Habana. That was how Havana was called at that time in 1519 when it was founded by Diego Velázquez. San Cristobal because of the Saint Christopher's, the Spanish traveler's saint, and Habana because Abahuanex was the name of the chief of the native tribe there, where they founded the village in 1519. So it is why we now call our important city as La Habana, okay? Founded in 1519. Then, after these first 7 villages, there were many other expeditions and a lot of other Spanish conquerors founded villages, and Matanzas was one of them. But, as I said, our natives were living here. Our natives were called Taínos. They were very peaceful people, very hard workers, already working the land and living in their small villages, and the first native tribes, they were given a very warm welcome to the Spanish and to the soldiers, but of course they didn't know what they had in mind, because for the Spanish people, our natives were inferiors, and they were just useful as slaves. That's what they were using our natives, just putting them to work many hours looking for gold and silver. That was the metropolis' main expectation. The Spanish crown, they had this expectation of finding as much gold and silver as possible in this island, and that's why they tried. That's why they were putting our natives to work many hours, a kind of exploitation they were not used to. So that's why a lot of them were dying. They were dying due to also exotic diseases that were introduced by the Europeans at that time. So our native population was decreasing and decreasing, and there was a moment when there were not many natives left anymore. So they exterminated them all during colonial times, and that's why some tribes were not happy to see the Spanish people getting closer, and they didn't want them here. That was what happened in the waters of this very deep bay. The men of the tribe, they saw how they realized how the Spanish fleet was getting closer to their village, and they decided to attack. So they attacked. A lot of Spanish people drowned in the waters of this deep bay. That's the reason why this bay was called by the Spanish people as Bahía de la Matanzas, Matanzas Bay, because of what happened. Because in Spanish, Matanzas, when you translate it to English, it's killing, slaughter, massacre, and it comes from that confrontation between the natives and the Spanish people. That was the first time Spanish royal palm trees is a kind of tree very important in Cuba. It's also a thing. Imagine why. 112 meters is the height of the bridge. See how beautiful the view is from both sides. As I said, the ocean and the mountains on the right and the left, a nicer, very beautiful view of the Jumuri Valley with all the palm trees. And the turkey vultures, those black birds, turkey vultures, we always find them here because also some of them nest in the little caves on the side of the mountain. That's why the turkey vulture. And it's still using the same Russian technology from that time, but now it's burning Cuban oil. Same oil that it's drilled from this area of the country, northern coast of Cuba. That's why the smoke is so black, because our oil is very heavy. So it is then the one used in the power plants, but you see it, the type of oil, also the color of the smoke tells you. And in this case, it's very black because it's the oil in the country. Our oil is very heavy, it's actually very hard to refine, and that's why we get refined oil from Venezuela, as I was explaining before. When we go to an opera, to a theater, to a ballet, to all this, to get from the government. Not anymore. So you don't need that anymore. So as a Cuban, if you want to travel, there are only a few countries you don't need visa to go. The majority of the countries you need visa, so you have to go to the consulate or the embassy of that country to to ask for a visitor's visa. What happens is that in many cases they say no, because they think that, as it has happened before, there's a lot of Cubans, once they get the visa, they, for example, to Canada or to any other country, to Europe, whatever, they don't come back. But that's not everywhere. The fortress is to the side of the city. That's why I was saying that it's also very beautiful, the view from the other side. And that's where we're going to be in the afternoon. Later in the afternoon, we go there. You will spend some time there. There is also a small market, souvenirs market there, and the cigar shop, which is also there in the fortress. Now we are in the beautiful Havana city. We go first to Old Havana, Habana Vieja. The fortresses, as I was already saying, were built in colonial times for the protection of the city. The Morro Castle was the second fortress. The first of all these fortresses was built in the city. We will show you. We will also walk in front of the Royal Force Castle, as we call it. And the third was that fortress we see from here. It's known as San Carlos de la Cabaña. And it was the fortress, the largest of all the fortresses built in Cuba during colonial times. Okay, we will stay together from the first where we go. It's San Francisco de Asís. It's a beautiful square, but we don't go back to that square anymore. We see it now. We start from there, but then our bus driver will be here waiting for us, waiting for my call, and he is going to pick us up somewhere else near the Cathedral Square. Okay, that's why it's so important from the moment we start our city tour to follow me, please, all the time. I have a black and white umbrella with me, which is going to be easier, okay, for you to see me. I'll always be in the front guiding the group, but please, I need you all to follow me. I know that you will like to take pictures, and I will, of course, go slowly so that you can have time to do it, all this, but it's very important. If you get lost in Havana, it's not going to be easy for you to find us, because, as I said, Tuesday is always busy, and there are a lot of tourists also in the city. So please, as I've been repeating, it's very important to stay together now, okay, to always keep an eye on the group and to follow me all the time, okay? We are also close to the cruise ship terminal. This is what I was saying about how many of these big ships come to Havana every week. All of them will also be visiting Old Town right now, same as us, okay? So now we start a city tour from here. We take all of our belongings. In case you want to leave something here, it's okay to do it. The driver will stay on the bus all time, okay? So your belongings will be safe. That's in the case you want to leave something here. Let's go. Are you enjoying this page? Is everything okay so far? Yeah? Okay.
She probably can have one back or something. I'd rather...
The most important tree in Havana. It's where people come every November the 15th, and it's the one they will go around for 3 times and follow the tradition of rich families, okay? In colonial times, right? So we are going to meet here, right here in 2012. I don't know if my 20 to 12? 20 to 12. Yeah, pretty close. So 20 to 12, it's gonna be the time we meet back here, okay? In 20 minutes. Okay? No Cuban time. Okay, no Cuban time.
El mar, la proximidad y el aire, muy bien. Aquel como español de Castilla, la flor de lis. ¿Y después? La flor de lis, la granada, y toda la familia. Sí, de los borbones. La flor de lis de los borbones. Y la oveja comunidad. Borbón. Después francés, Luis XVI, la profesora tampoco. ¿Ok? María también. Bien. Lámpara francesa, Napoleón,
fatta la presa dentro.
If anyone wants to go closer to the car to take a picture, it's okay. The driver will be here in about 5 minutes, so you have time. Don't go too far, okay? In case.
That's the car I'm going to pretend is mine. Okay. Here, hold the phone, don't let it go.
Yeah, just one and all. Oh, Dad.
Okay, guys, you see this in front? I mean, this avenue that we will later see it because now we go to the Telegrafo restaurant, I mean, to have lunch, and then we continue and we will show you the main buildings in Centro Havana and some nice areas of New Havana, and later we come and we will drive along the Malecon Avenue, which is a very popular avenue where every weekend in August the carnivals are celebrated. That's why all these cars are here, starting from Friday night to Sunday night, and they do it every weekend in August. Carnival. People love it. So this area of Havana was built in the early 20th century. It's where, I mean, most of these buildings were built early 20th century. It was the area of the city that was built after the demolition of the wall. I was telling you about how the Spanish people were protecting Havana by building the fortresses, but they also built a wall, a thick wall that was all around the village of Havana, and it was also protecting Havana from the pirates. This wall had 9 gates. They used to open these gates always 4:30 a.m. and they were always shooting a cannon to announce at 8 o'clock in the evening that they were closing the gates till next day. These fortresses and the wall, it protected the village till 1863. Till 1863, when there were no more pirates attacking the village and they needed a bigger city and they wanted to grow more as a city, and that's why in 1863 they broke the wall and they were growing. I mean, and that's why they started to grow and build buildings in the 20th century from here to this area that we are going to see now. The piece of wall we see there, that piece of a building that looks like part of another building, is a piece of a wall, the wall, one of the main gates that used to be one of the main gates of that wall that was here for the protection of the city. And the war tank over there, it was used by Fidel Castro when in April, war tank, Russian war tank, April 1961, we were invaded by these Cuban Americans who were sent by the CIA to invade the country, and it took them 72 hours because, I mean, the army of Cuba stopped this invasion in 72 hours. It took place on the Bay of Pigs. Maybe you've heard about Bay of Pigs invasion. I'm going to show you on the map where it is. Here, Baradero, it's on the northern side of Matanzas, Bay of Pigs on the southern coast. Okay, and that was same time years they spent in Mexico, and they took that boat, the boat we see inside that glass case, that's known as Granma boat. You remember that guy in Old Havana who was selling the newspapers? The name of the newspaper, official newspaper, also the name of the boat, Granma. And that's the boat that brought to Cuba, back to Cuba, 82 men. 81 Cubans and 1 Argentinian, Che Guevara. Che Guevara met Fidel Castro in Mexico. Che Guevara was a doctor, and he offered himself as a doctor to come and join the rebel army. And he was, once in Cuba, a lot more useful as a soldier, as a leader, than as a doctor. So in a way, he put aside his profession, and he became one of the most important commanders of the rebel army. Che Guevara, I'm sure maybe you all know who I'm talking about, this famous guy you see everywhere, okay? Most of you are wearing the hat, okay, of Che Guevara. And later, when we go to the Revolution Square, there's also one building with the Che Guevara's famous statue outside, okay? Not a statue, but it's a monument outside the building. This is Havana Central Park, surrounded by buildings from the early 1900s. The blue one at the corner, it's where we're having lunch, Hotel Telegrafo. Some of these are very nice hotels, Hotel Inglaterra, Hotel Parque Central. That beauty, see from here, at the corner, that's one of the theaters in the city. This theater is known as Gran Teatro de la Habana. It's a very beautiful building. Its facade, it's one of the most beautiful ones in the city. Its interior, it's very beautiful too. It's the seat of the ballet company, National Ballet Company of our country. And the big dome we see behind, all protected, I mean all covered by scaffolds because it's still under renovation. It's the main dome of the Capitol building. We will see that later because we go that way after lunch. We have the big monument dedicated to Jose Marti, our national hero. Jose Marti was the hero who organized the Second War of Independence, as I explained on the way to Havana. That monument was made in 1952, before the time of the revolution. That's why the name of the square at that time was Civic Square. That was how the people used to call it. Plaza Civica. Only after the time of the revolution in the 60s, it was when the name was changed to Plaza de la Revolución, Revolution Square. Because, as it is so big, this was the place where all people from Havana used to come to support the revolution, to attend every time Fidel Castro was giving the speeches to the people of Havana.
Where are we? Where are we? Cuba, exactly. Cuba. You want to go up in the bus already? Huh? So quick?
Revolution Square to Santiago de Cuba Cemetery, Santa Ifigenia, where his tomb is. They built his nice, very modest, very simple tomb. They're in Santiago de Cuba Cemetery, Cuba. This one on the right, the National Hotel of Cuba. Also declared as National Monument, also known as the Hotel of the Celebrities, because of all these famous people who have stayed there since 1930 till nowadays. They have, they used to have a very big casino there. After 1959, all casinos were closed, and then the room that used to be occupied by the casino is now known as Hall of the small market where they have more souvenirs, And those who are interested in buying the good cigars, you come with me. I will show you where the cigar shop is. It's inside the fortress, okay? So that will be the first thing we do once we get up there. When we get up there, you follow me. Those who want to take a look inside the cigar shop, I will take you inside the cigar shop. In there, I will explain about the good deals because, as I was telling you, it is one of the best places to get cigars because of the prices, and it's much cheaper when you buy them individually than when you get the box of 25. All these cigar shops, all of them in the country, they all belong to one cigar company. The name is Habanos S.A. So when they sell the cigars, I mean when they make and sell the cigars and export the cigars, all of this goes to the same company, which is a government-owned company. That's why buying cigars in Cuba, it's, you have to be careful where you get your cigars. Because if you don't buy it from the government-owned places, you are taking a big risk of getting fake cigars. I mean, if you don't get them from the proper places, because I know...
Like a whole ceremony, and then they do the canning. Go right to.
When I come in here, all my legs get just kind of destroyed. Get a
Yeah? Got all this
Concrete.
securing you, man.
No, it's just get a feeling.
Uh-huh.
There's a few like the statue, like in Brazil there. You know, a big statue.
We're talking about.
Big white statue in Brazil.
We just passed?
No, in Brazil.
Oh, in Brazil. Oh,
They have a
Christ.
little.
The Christ statue.
Yeah, they have one here. My rust up there, can't use them now.
Some tearing up.
はい、あの近く。